Alright, Deadheads, listen, we're going to make a quick video, and it's going to be kind of an odd topic. I just want to put this out there because this is a conversation that a lot of fans tend to have. And I'm curious myself, but it's just my curiosity. I gotta ask, how do you guys feel about the characters from the comic being very similar or very different from the TV show? For example, Rick Grimes, there's some differences, but they're extremely similar. Morgan in season 1 was, almost identical, to the Morgan in the comic. There was a little bit of differences there, but it's the same setup. Now, Morgan is completely different. In season 1, Morgan, he was accurate to the comic book. Season 3, even though it was different, it was still pretty accurate to the comic book. However, season 5, 6-ish, he completely different from the comic book. Carol Peltier, another one. Season 1, I would even argue season 2, she's very similar to the comic, and it gets to that point where she doesn't continue staying the same as the comic book, and she changes a lot. Even in the comic book, she was a younger character. She had, shoulder length, blonde hair, so there was some physical differences, but as the show grew on, Carol on the show now, other than her name, there's nothing she shares that's the same as the Carol in the comic. The Carol in the comic's dead. This one's alive. The Carol in the comic was weak and committed suicide. This one's strong, and she's, one of the strongest members in the original Atlanta group. It's wildly different. Even on the show, Sophia's dead, and in the comic, Sophia's alive. Anyway, my main point when I want to drive home is the governor was extremely different from the comic book governor. Extremely different. There was some similarities, like having the decapitated heads in fish tanks, having the daughter Penny. Even that was a little bit different, but you see what I'm saying? He was the leader in Woodbury. There's those story similarities that stay true to the source material, but the governor himself was just so different. In the show, he didn't rape. In the comic book, he did rape. In the show, he didn't cut off Rick Grimes' hand. In the comic book, he did. There's so many differences. More differences than similarities. There's a chance that Negan could be very different from the comic book. And I think that Negan will have certain differences. And I think it's important because some of Negan's characteristics, again, are a little contradictory in the comic book. He comes on a little too heavy and he backs it up. Now, he could have done that in the comic for show, but on the TV show, I think they're going to remedy that and fill Negan out properly. Now, I personally feel that Negan, we already know he's been casted with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who, if you, cut your hair, shave your face, he's going to look pretty accurate to Negan, slap on the outfit, and he's a look-alike. Now, his attitude and who he is and what he stands for as far as extorting the communities and everything else, do you guys believe that will stay accurate to the comic book, or do you believe there will be some changes coming? Now, to continue on further, do you believe they will stay accurate in utilizing storylines, or do you think they will use the same storylines from the comic as far as what leads to All Out War, and then what leads into the New Beginning? Now, be careful if you don't read the comic book. There's some spoilers, but if you don't read the comic book, I urge you, go pick up Compendium 3. That will cover everything, about Negan. You can only read, half of it, maybe a little more than half, and you know everything about Negan. So go pick up Compendium 3. I think Amazon has it cheap, and come back here and discuss what do you think they're going to do with the character of Negan, and most importantly, this is what I'm curious about, how do you feel? Because I know I got a couple friends that I argue with that say Carol from the TV show is not at all Carol from the comic. Now, I personally, I believe that's ridiculous. I think they are the same exact, Carol, you know what I mean? But their story's completely different, but they are the same character. The Carol in the show is a representation of Carol from the comics. Same thing with the governor. Even though they were different, they are the same. Because I got some fans actually telling me that the Carol is Morgan, Governor, people like this that are different on the show are not the same characters in the comic book. It gets a little confusing because no, they're not identical as the comic book, but they are the characters pulled out of the comic, but they're shown differently. They have different stories on the show. Yeah, now that I talk like that, it gets a little ridiculous, but don't get too ridiculous. But let me know, how do you feel? Don't you care? Are there some traits that are very important? I feel there's some that you cannot fuck around with, like with Negan. That's why I think the censoring is so important, because his mouth, his obscene language is very important for that character. That's one of the biggest character traits. And don't tell me if you hate curse words, good for you, but don't bullshit us and say that, oh, that's unimportant to the character. Yes, it is, because go back and look at all the articles introducing Negan into the comic book, all the reviews. One of the first things they all say, foul mouth. It's a huge part of his characteristic. So, this video is already longer again than it should be. I woke up this morning and it looked like we got bombed, so I gotta go figure out what the hell that is. I don't even know where my computer is to upload this shit, but when I find it, I'll get it uploaded. Thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'm done talking, it's your turn. Subscribe now.